I've got a riding lawnmower here that has a PTO that went bad, making a lot of noise. This piece fell off on the lawn, and I'm hoping it might just be a bearing, but it might be that the whole PTO's got to be changed out. Now on lawnmowers, typically you'll find it underneath the mower, especially on zero-turn mowers. A lot of them, they mount underneath the engine. This one happens to be on the back of the engine, so I need to take this weight off. Let's get to it. All right, to get this weight off, there's 2 bolts that go through here. My PTO is right back here. Let's take these weights off. And you can see on this, all this metal sticking out here. I can see the ball bearings. That outside bearing is definitely shot. There's one on the outside, one on the inside, and we'll have to see if it's worth changing out the bearing or replacing this whole thing. Now, so I have some resistance. I'm going to turn the key on and engage the PTO. There, we got it. Beautiful. I got it on the compression stroke. That was enough to break this loose. If yours is underneath the mower, these impacts or an air wrench probably get it. Be careful of the sharp stuff. Now the trick is to get that clutch off the shaft. I want to unplug the PTO, and it's got a little clip on here, piece of metal that's bent over. There we go. And then I got to unplug it here, and there's a little tab right here that you need to push down on. And then you can pull these apart. I stuck that through now. Let's see if I can pull it apart. Come on, baby. I got past the little clip. Ah! Hee-hee! Woo! Now I need to get the belts off. It's just spring-loaded here. So I just need to pry that forward and pop those belts off. Or take the spring off, either one. That might be enough there. There, I got one. There, I got them both. Now what I got to do is get this PTO to come out. You can see how dangerous that is. Yikes. And I'm going to pry in behind it. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Lord. Ha ha! Yeehaw! Sometimes they're stuck on there. And it's a mess getting them off. I gotta remove this. This is a stop for it. Gotta remove that plate right there. And then she'll slide right off. Alright, got 1. And 2. Off. That just sits on there like that. And there's a V groove in the plate on this, and it just rests on here. You can see where it rests on there, and it keeps that PTO from turning. Now she should slide right off. Beautiful. And I've got a bad belt in here. And you can see the key right here. And you can see how busted up that bearing is. You can see the ball bearings in there and the shrapnel. Let's see how the other side is. Yeah, this bearing looks all right here. So I'm going to see if I can change this bearing out. If not, I'll go online and see what it would cost me to get a PTO for this. It's got a number on it, 0296. If you've got a grasshopper mower. This is a 1616 grasshopper mower. We can't or could not change out the bearing on this one because it's welded in. On the new one, this one's not changeable either, but that one is on the back side. You just pull this C-clip out and you can pop that bearing out. Anyways, I had to get a new one, and when you get a new one, you want to make sure of two things. One, that they basically look the same. You want to watch the shaft diameter. This is a 1 inch for this one. And the other thing that you want to watch is make sure that the pulleys match up. And these do. And you can see it's configured the same with this plate, because that holds that PTO clutch in place. So we're good to go. Now we can go ahead and throw this back in. On this particular one, there's a shim and some washers in here. You want to make sure that you don't lose those. And I'm going to line this key up with the groove in the shaft, and hopefully it's going to slide right on. There we go, nothing to it. Now this takes a 7/16 inch bolt, and you can look it up online, but this needs to be torqued to 50 foot-pounds for this particular unit. That's pretty typical on lawnmower PTOs, but you want to look yours up. And you don't want to over-tighten them or under-tighten them because it'll affect the longevity of your PTO. And this is the stop here. That fits right in that groove. You can see that locks that right in place there. Just tightening up that mounting plate. I gotta take that mounting plate out. Gotta get the belts on first. Wasn't paying attention. There we go. Now I can get this plate back in. Goes right in that groove. Now I got to torque this down to 50 foot-pounds, and of course the flywheel, the crankshaft's just going to want to turn. So I need to hold that in place. See how that just turns? And on this particular mower, I can go up to the shaft and put a screwdriver through it to hold it in place. Stick that in there. That'll give me the leverage that I need. I'll hold this down and turn on the other end. I got this torque wrench at Harbor Freight. It was cheap. And there's my 50 foot-pounds right there. So I just turn this in. There's 50 right there. Tighten that down, and I'm just listening for a click here. There it is. That's 50 right there. Now I'm going to put my belts on. Beautiful. Got them both in. Release the tension. We're all locked and loaded. I'm going to put my cord on here. It just plugs right in. Just want to make sure the wires aren't pinched there. Now you won't have to do this unless you have this mower. I got to put these weights back in. All locked and loaded there. All right, let's fire it up and test it out. It is to change out your PTO. Sorry I couldn't just put a bearing in that one, but this worked out well. And I found that on sale on eBay for $79. If this video is a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects